Vikram carelessly tossed the bright piece of metal onto his cot. He'd have it sent home, he supposed. It wasn't going to stop a bullet or put out an engine fire. It wasn't edible, and though endlessly polishing metals might be some kind of relief from boredom and anxiety, it had never worked for him. Another useless bit of tin. They'd sent him home for a tour of the major cities of the Empire, and he'd heard a great deal of nonsense about their supposed heroic victory in the East. He'd heard only whispers of the desperate situation in the West, however. A great breakthrough for the Entente, apparently, using tanks, armored landships that could cross the wire and trenches without slowing. The Hindenburg Line cracked. For weeks they'd shipped him round, showing him off to dignitaries too important to carry a rifle, too old to fly a plane. In the end, he'd had to physically threaten a colonel to be allowed to return to his unit. And he suspected that trick would only work once. Negotiations were underway in some shape or form to end this blasted war with the Russians. But for all his disillusionment with the fighting, Vikram was determined to see this through. With his men. With his plane. In the sky. Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen all, to another episode of this Rise of Flight career. Now, hopefully it's not been 3/4 of a year since last we spoke, but unfortunately I managed to corrupt the audio of this episode. Not the in-game one, that's fine, don't worry, but the commentary in this case is recorded afterwards due to a hiccup on my end. My machine's behalf, I suppose. But here we are anyway, flying a offensive patrol this time with a rather large squadron behind us. I think it's 5-6 people all in all. We're heading north by northeast, and then as we reach the river we will brake and head east. As you can see here, past the old squadron headquarters of Squadron 13 and over all the way over here to the eastern side where there's another airfield. We will then head north to that city over there, Monastrishka, and then we'll head on, be on our jolly way home, won't we? Because the audio was corrupted, I think this will be by and by a somewhat more muted episode. But I hope that's all right with you. For now, we're just going to set the course north by northeast. And I'll see you in a little bit. I don't know what sort of opposition we can expect. At this point in the war, of course, the Allies, or the Entente, I should say, are making headway in the west. But on the east, Lenin is fervently arguing for accepting the German peace terms. Spoiler alert, they won't. And after some fibbling about it, the German High Command will renew their offensive and push virtually unopposed much deeper up the Baltic coast by way of the trains. There's not much army left to oppose them, and so it's mostly a formality. Doing so, they capture a lot of land, which of course just puts the Russian right back at the negotiating table a few months later in a significantly worse position. And at that time, Lenin will finally convince them to sign a peace treaty with the Germans. Alright, we have reached the river. Here, the little island there. Oh. Contacts, 2 o'clock. Got 1, 2, 6 planes, 3 more. 3 more below, I think. No, 4 more below. That's a total of, what is that? 6, 7, 8, 9 bombers. Are there any escorts? Those are also bombers. Then what? Maybe the planes below? My god, that's a lot of bombers. What are we going for? Get some assistance this time. Got nearly a dozen FE-2Bs. It seems like most of the flight is already turning for home. Perhaps they've... yeah, I don't blame them. They've jettisoned their bombs though, as far as I can see, but they're turning for home. Let's see what we can do. I want to dive in from this altitude though in the Albatross, so we'll try to cut them off. More bombers heading over the river there to the left. It's like we can find a straggler. I don't see any escorts at this point. There's a straggler. Go. Boy, oh boy, this turned into an exciting episode right off the bat, didn't it? Let's shadow this one bogey for a moment. My friends along. Do some of them. Up and over the top. Live. Let's see if we can get this horrible shooting. Come on. Half decent burst into that one. Let's see if we can get another. Down quickly beneath the gunner. Zoom up. Ooh, this is great. But that's decent salvo. I think he might be going down already. Here come the rest of the cavalry. Yeah, let's break off him for a moment. Still no sign of a fighter escort. I think his engine is probably shot up. Let's take care to see that we don't ram our friend. No, never mind. It's no use firing in this distance. He's not going to be able to get away. Some more of the bombers up ahead. we've lost a lot of altitude though going for this one. Safe as though it may be. It's really hauling us. Come on. A couple more rounds should do it. A couple more rounds and there we go. Yep, that's the pilot dead, I think. Let's break off, look for other targets. Those are our friends. And here's a dogfight up ahead. That seems like at least one of our Albatross. Let me just check. Yep, there's a wing fluttering. That's a confirmed kill. Friends up ahead is engaging another FE-2B. Moderate success. Honestly, I'm always happy to see tracers coming off the friendlies. Quite often they don't engage at all. Let's just check. I had some hits to the plane there, but it seems like fuel pressure is okay, and fuel consumption seems normal. It doesn't seem like we've sprung a leak or anything. Are they all turning back? Seems like there's a dogfight developing behind us. Yeah, basically we have two choices at this point. We can follow the bombers back, which would be a long sort of drag and bag maneuver on their behalf. We can, yeah, I'm just going to go for these, see what we can do to help out. Those are SPADs. SPAD 7s. Very interesting. So that's the fighter escort then. Let's see what we can find. If there's anything closer to our altitude, that would be priority, but well, looks like we're going to have to bleed off a lot of seems like the Austrians have the upper hand here. SPAD 7s are great machines though. Low and slow turn fight on the deck. I put my money on the Albatross, but the speed of those things. Very, very far below us. I'm not even sure it's worth engaging at this point. See the one French plane. Oh wait, there's another. Right, let's bleed off some altitude. Hopefully we can assist. Thing still seems normal, so no lasting damage from those hits we took. Just canvas. Anymore. Well, hello. What's this? I thought I saw, yes, some wings visible against the backdrop of the forest there. There's another dogfight, low altitude developing over here, over the town. Let's go look at that, because that seemed like it's less of a done deal than what we had below us a second ago. This flank, they seem to have mostly dealt with it. Wildly. Let's trust our friends and go take care of that one and go help out these. See, two, maybe was that three SPADs? Very interesting low-level dogfights here. Drop, throttle, and glide in. That's an FE-2B in the midst of the dogfight. I guess he got separated from his friends. Interesting to see why he's sticking in it though, but let's take him out first, I think, because he has that front gunner and I don't want to be engaged in a turn fight with a gunner on the loose here. Maybe this is a mistake, but yeah, I definitely think I want to take him out first. I'm moderately confident in my abilities to keep on the 6 of any SPAD here, but with a gunner firing sideways at me, that wouldn't matter too much. Right, so let's just zoom up behind him, underneath him as usual. See if we can... No, not very good shots there. Beautiful target. I could only get my guns to line up the way I want them. Alright, this time, Matt, this time. Ran by a friend. Keep wasting bullets in empty air. There we go. Beautiful. Whoa. Good grief. Well, I call that a confirmed kill as well. Now, where are those SPADs? Got one there, one below, chasing the German. We'll go for the... one that has a decent energy state. Don't want to go for one that's too low and slow while we still have some altitude, so that looks good. Up and over the top. Nope, he's turning into me. Let's stay up then and turn around the other way. Hopefully we can then roll right around if he continues his turn, and yes, perfect. Line up on a 6. Got some hits into them there, but not a lot, certainly not enough. He's staying with our friend. Some decent hits. Not sure we don't overshoot him. Had to break off there. I think engine might be hit after that last salvo. And he's lost something there. One more burst should do it, and he's down. Road. We had someone right under us. Yes, another SPAD. Okay, he seems to be sticking in his... Nope. Oh, God. Lost him. Had to maneuver away from our friends. This should be on our left side, and our friends are currently not going to ram us. Going in again. Oh, never mind. There we go. 2 friendlies, and I've lost him again. Bloody hell. Always more dangerous with the friendlies. Good route too. Where did he go? And there's a German down, I think. Didn't quite see that. Alright, he's beneath us. I don't want to bleed up too much. Wow, he's fast. He is really fast. He might be able to... oh, there goes another German. Right, I think he maneuver killed himself. Terrible head-on. Look at the speed of that thing. Nope, no, he's pretty much outturning me as well with that speed. He has a lot of speed to burn. Yeah, see, he's actually... and I can turn just about as tightly, but he has more energy with all that speed. I don't know how he's maintaining it, the way he's maneuvering, but he's still got to be losing it, although very slowly. Alright, let's see if we can line up the left gun here, and no, dodge the friendly. So if he sticks in this right turn, should be good. Yep, and he's down. Dodge the friendly, and climb back up. That seems to be it for the targets. Well flown, sir. I salute you. That was some
excellent dogfighting. Interesting. Right off the bat, too. There must have been, I saw 2 entire flights of Fe-2Bs. One was 6 planes, the other I counted 4, so at least 10 bombers. And then probably 4, 5, we saw 2 Spads fighting the first dogfight, and there were 3 Spads here. Yeah, so at least 5 Spads, possibly more, because some of them might have gone down before we joined the dogfight. Very interesting. Alright, let's just double check again. Nope. Fuel is normal, fuel pressure is good. We don't have a lot of gauges to check for damage on this thing, but yeah, just looking over the aircraft, everything seems fine. So I guess all that remains is checking the ammunition. About 200 rounds circa per gun. That should allow us to take down at least a couple more, so we're going to continue with the mission. However, we drifted very far off course here, so yeah, right, so just to quickly explain what I was doing there with the guns is normally most people aim with a sort of either the gun sight or this sort of this big engine knob on the side here, or on the front. The guns zeroed the way they are, that's usually more than enough. But when you are in a flat turn fight, you want to line up the side sights here, either on the right or on the left, depending on what the... So if the plane is flying to the right, from left to right, you want to make sure to line up the gun sight that's on his tail end, so to speak. Because in that end, the left gun, in this case, will probably hit the plane, and the right gun, which is firing slightly above that, or in front of that, will most certainly hit, as he will be flying into that stream of bullets. Didn't do a great job of explaining that, but I think you get the drift. I will do some navigation, find my way and turn back north, I think, on the route, and I'll see you in a little bit. And we are back now. We should be flying over that city of Monastryoshka something. We have, let's see, on the right here, this sort of very sharp-looking peninsula, and on the right of that, to the east, we have an airfield. Yeah, we should be right over at the sort of northern end of our patrol route here. There's the city on the peninsula, and the airfield's just below the windmill. Doesn't seem to be anything on it. Maybe one parked airplane. We managed to pick up one of our wingmen from before, but I haven't seen neither hide nor hair of the rest of the squadron or the bombers. But as this is the end of the patrol route, I will be turning back towards the south, south by southwest. And as we are en route back home, flying into the sun, I'd like to thank you for all the kind comments and messages that you left on my last video. It's always a bit weird coming back after such a long hiatus, but it certainly made me feel welcome. Thank you for that. As regards the replies to my inquiries about where to go next, well, it seems like most all of you said something along the lines of do whatever that makes you happy, which is a very nice sentiment and also a fairly clever one, because of course if I enjoy it, the content will be the better. Not necessarily, mainstream appeal, but there you go. So what I'll most likely be doing is starting up, assuming I can conclude this campaign in a satisfactory manner, West Front campaign, probably flying for the Entente this time, get some plane variety into the mix, if nothing else. But I'll also probably, maybe even simultaneously, start a career flying on the Eastern Front in the 40s, that is to say an IL-2 campaign of some sort. Given the high lethality of those campaigns, as if Rise of Flight wasn't bad enough, I wouldn't really expect it to last as long, so I'll probably try to make something slightly more light-hearted. But probably just full narration and everything, don't worry. As for the rest, I don't know. Maybe we'll do something, streaming something. Stream some multiplayer. Maybe Flying Circus, which has largely taken over the multiplayer community of Rise of Flight. I'll have a chat with Kayla and the rest of the Luftschiff crew and see what falls out of that. But, well, that's it for public service messaging. So, I'm just going to make sure I'm going the right direction here and make a little skip, I think, as we head for home. I'll see you in a little bit. Back. Unfortunately, we've not encountered any wingmen or any bombers. Now, as you can see, we have the Twin Lakes ahead of us. A very familiar sight by now. Which means we're almost home. I'm a little bit upset that those bombers gave me the slip, but well, I suppose there was nothing really to be done. I could have followed them all the way back to the base, but then we'd given up on the fighters there. Still irks me that they got away. Just counting off in my head. I've seen, I think, at least 3 German planes go down. And it's possible that more died before we were there to see them fall. So I'm slightly worried about our flight at this point. A rather tragic time to die this close to the end of the war. Alright, time to start turning in towards the airfield. Reduce throttle because we have a lot of airspeed and height to bleed off before we go in for a landing. We'll come in across the treetops there as usual. Low, just add a little bit more throttle to make sure we make it over. Wasn't much wind to mention, so this should be fine. There's a much better approach than last time, that's for sure. Let's see if I can stick a better 2-pointer. better, but... No. Yep. Oh. Alright. Well, it's an improvement. Still some rust to get rid of, I think. Let's just make sure we don't hit the windsock. And there we are. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize once again for the issues with the audio, but at least it didn't take me 207 days to set things right and record another episode. I suspect Vikram will have some explaining to do as to what happened to the rest of his flight, but at least it made for a somewhat interesting episode. Thank you very much for watching, ladies, gentlemen, all. I'll see you next time. Toodaloo.